Welcome to the second episode of Rise of the Triad, which is called Monastery because you never get to see the names of the episode proper into the game, only into the manual. So this is where you see those enemies, Triad Enforcers, third jerks that take up to 3 bazooka shots into the face to kill. And this is why they're a huge annoyance. And as we proceed through the level, we're going to see how those enemies can be a huge pain in the ass. Those guys really make quite a distinguished entrance into this episode and game and level because, well, this is the first level of the episode and, well, it's a pretty brutal one. I gotta say, this level is a lot harder than many of the other levels than this episode has. You really gotta be careful and watch all around you, and you gotta learn how to fight multiple enemies into really tiny ass rooms, and yeah. Basically, this level really reminds me a lot of Wolfenstein 3Ds, because you have the really tiny rooms, the low ceilings. This whole level really have a pretty claustrophobic feel to it. So, let's see how much damage these guys can take. Yeah, they have a chain gun that they only use at short distances. Yeah, you have to munch them for something like almost 5 or 10 seconds, which really is a lot. Thankfully, these guys are not all that common, but well, sometimes you'll see them a whole lot more, and sometimes they will only be really sparsely used because, well, yeah, we're gonna go into another one of the features that this game has, random monsters. I mean, the placement of the monsters is predefined, but the type of monster, not. Yeah, right now there's 3 lightning guards, but sometimes you might even face up to 2 Triad Enforcers into this room instead. Basically, the map designer can tell the game to put a random monster in there, and he'll choose one of the monsters that is put into the level, and without any regard whether they're stronger or not. And yeah, those guys throw grenades too, just to make them even more annoying. That's basically their long-range attack, and it does pretty much the kind of damage that you expect. So, in a nutshell, because of the random monster feature, you might face something like, at best, 5 or 6 Triad Enforcers, or you might have 20 or more. And thus comes back the moment where I'll talk about another one of the reasons why I decided to not LP this game using the Windows port of Rise of the Triad, which is WinRut. The reason for this being, well, the random monster feature into the game doesn't even work properly, and it will not spawn all of the kind of enemies that appear into the game. The game will not spawn Triad Enforcers or monks this way, so hence why into those levels where you normally see a whole lot of these enemies, instead you'll end up seeing a whole lot of lightning guards. Or any of the other monsters that are present into the level, but if it's trying to spawn nothing but strong monsters into a level and there's none, basically, well, all of the enemies that will normally be Triad Enforcers or Monk will become Lightning Guards, and thus, well, it makes things a whole lot easier, and, well, while it's easier, well, it's probably not the way that the game designer intended his game to be played, so hence why we're gonna play it as it is supposed to be. So anyway, we just pressed on 1,000,000 of touch plates, and we're gonna take a grenade into the face. But we're also gonna get another one of the new weapons, which is exclusive to the retail game, which is the little glowy bat that you see here, Excalibat. It makes weird noises, and finally, it unleashes carnage galore. But yeah, right now we're gonna take another weapon because since this level is pretty much nothing but tight always, using this weapon in this level is pretty much suicide. But rest assured, we're gonna have many other opportunities later to see this weapon in action. Or at least into the other episode, because I'm not even sure if you see this weapon again in this whole episode. So essentially, they give you a brand new weapon, and finally, they give you the worst level ever, in order to even use it properly. I applaud this marvelous decision. Godspeed. And also, another reason to not bring Excalibat along. This level really doesn't have a whole lot of missile weapon to begin with, and you basically need to hoard your missile weapons like it's the apocalypse. You need to use this missile weapon ammo in order to kill all of the Triad Enforcers that you encounter, and there's not enough missile weapons into this whole level to begin with. Plus, you can't really rely on Excalibat in order to quickly attack enemies because the baseball barrage thing that you have going for, well, oh. I better stop speaking so that I can pay attention to what I'm doing. I really suck at traps navigation into this game. But yeah, the wall of baseballs takes a really long time in order to charge. You have to hold your fire button something like 5 seconds in order to launch an attack of it, so if you're quickly stuck into a jam and need to defend yourself, well, tough luck, you cannot do that. Essentially, the only moment where you're going to use the bat is, well, when you're standing into really wide open rooms and are absolutely sure that none of the baseballs that you're going to shoot are going to explode into your face and kill you. And I'm pretty sure once again we'll have many opportunities to see that later. But yeah, this room here would have been a good room in order to use it. There's 2 Triad Enforcers, and sometimes there's even more than that. Yeah, there's nothing more fun than facing a whole line of Triad Enforcers with only your machine gun when it takes something like 15 seconds or so of steady firing just to kill one. And also, compared to other enemies into the game, where when you're shooting them like that, yeah, they don't move because they're perpetually stuck and they cannot do anything to defend themselves, but yeah, Triad Enforcers are exempt to this rule. Even though you're shooting them constantly into the face with your machine gun, they still manage to attack you, and well, it's basically just the same concept as to when you're trying to attack, say, a Baron of Hell in Doom with the chainsaw. Basically, you just get mauled down to death brutally, and well, there's no chance that you can ever win that fight. So basically, this is the reason why you constantly need to stay away from Triad Enforcers, because if you try to gun them down with your machine gun, they're just going to retaliate with their huge chain gun, which deals a whole lot of damage, and that you have no way to make them stop fire. So yeah, there's no more missile ammo anywhere into the level, so now stop shooting those Triad Enforcers until they die, which really isn't that great. That's the only fun thing of playing on easy, because, well, on easy they don't have this whole, oh, I don't care if I'm being shot into the face by your bullets, mister, because yeah, when you're playing on easy, they're perpetually stuck as well, so, fuck, there's another one right here. And when there's a whole bunch of spin blades like that, they take even longer to kill because you can't even shoot them constantly. Basically, I'm just relying on him shooting himself down with his own grenades, because yeah, at least they're not immune to their grenades. And also, their own comparses are not immune to other people's Oh, fuck me. That's pretty much the worst place where you'd want to see a Triad Enforcers. Right in front of a door. This is the random enemy feature, which is just saying, fuck you, buddy, you're not allowed to win this level. Because at least the level designers never specifically put Triad Enforcers in front of doors in order to ambush you like that. They know that it's a bit hassle-ish, so basically this is just your own bad luck or lack of luck being in full effect. So, how many Triad Enforcers have we killed now using nothing but the machine gun? Something like 5 or 6 now. You better learn how to deal with Triad Enforcers this way, by the way, because you can never guarantee that there'll be any kind of missile weapon ammo lying around just in order to deal with those guys, but alright, finally proper enemies to kill. Some people said that, well, on Crazy Man difficulty, the enemies have way too much health and basically it kind of becomes a core in order to kill enemies, but yeah, I wonder what those people think about this particular enemy on Crazy Man. Even though if, well, according to the strategy guide of Rise of the Triad, those enemies have the same amount of health on both Hard and Crazy Man, so I guess that they just become more resilient to bullet weapons. So, okay, last enemy. Thank you! This level is finally over. I'm really not a huge fan of this level, as you probably have told already. But yeah, we can finally move on to something else. After attempting this level something like over 10 times, the one time where it finally happened paid off. So anyway, this is it for this bitchy level, which was called Into the Castle, just in case you missed it at the beginning of this update. And well, the second level of this episode will be Great Halls of Fire, which is a pretty nice name, should I say. So, before I leave you on to something else, well, here's a little montage that will enlighten you on the baseball bat weapon.
You saw.